Does the algorithm know more about your desires and fears than you do? That question should scare you because it's true. You think you're in control? You're not. Every swipe of your finger is a reaction, not a decision. You don't choose what you see. The algorithm chooses what will keep you hooked. It observes, it calculates, it provokes. The feed looks like an endless library of entertainment, but it's a dopamine cage, a prison you lock yourself in every day without noticing. Byung-Chul Han called it surveillance freedom. You think you're free, but you're trapped in an invisible system that programs your mind without your consent. Every video that makes you laugh, every phrase that makes you angry, every trend that consumes you. It's a trigger, a trick, a trap. You think you're having fun, but you're being manipulated. You're being studied. You're being trained. Your behavior is the product. Your attention is the currency. And every second you spend on the feed is a silent vote saying, I accept being programmed. Are you ready to stop scrolling? Or will you keep being shaped by the algorithm without even realizing it? Does the algorithm know more about your desires and fears than you do? How did we get here? Why can't you stop scrolling? The answer is simple and dark. You've been conditioned since the first video, since the first like, since the first comment that made you feel seen, validated, accepted. The algorithm doesn't just observe, it trains, it molds, it programs. Do you feel pleasure when you get a notification? That's operant conditioning. Do you feel anxious when your post doesn't get likes? That's artificial scarcity. Do you feel envy when you see someone else's perfect life? That's engineered comparison. Do you buy things you don't need because a video triggered the desire? That's algorithmic manipulation. Byung-Chul Han calls this the society of performance. Foucault would call it invisible biopower, control that doesn't force, but trains you to obey. You live to be productive, to post, to engage, to be noticed, and, the most dangerous part, you start believing it's normal, that this anxiety, this rush, this hunger for dopamine is just part of modern life. But it's not. It's part of a system designed to keep you addicted, distracted, controlled. Have you ever stopped to ask, why do I think this way? Why do I desire this? Why do I feel nervous when I'm offline? How many of your reactions were truly yours? And how many were programmed into you and without you even noticing? The question is brutal and necessary. Are you living, or are you being lived by the system? Does the algorithm know more about your desires and fears than you do? What? If I told you, it also knows who you think you are. The feed doesn't just show what you like, it shows you who you need to become to feel accepted. Carl Jung called this the persona, the mask you wear to fit in, to be loved, to avoid rejection. But the algorithm goes deeper. It fragments your self. A success reel turns you into the hero, motivated, inspired, ambitious. A tragedy clip makes you the victim, angry, sad, outraged. A luxury post makes you feel small, insignificant, worthless. A gossip video turns you into the judge, quick to condemn, eager to react. With every swipe, you become a different character, without even noticing. You're no longer a whole human being. You're a collage of instant emotions. And the darkest part? The algorithm doesn't just trigger your shadow, the envy, the shame, the hidden desires. It shapes it. It builds your identity out of what hurts you and what pleases you. You think you choose what you feel? Or are you being guided to feel exactly what keeps you hooked? For Jung, the shadow should be integrated, accepting that you hold both light and darkness. But the algorithm doesn't want integration. It wants instability, insecurity, control, because a fragmented mind consumes more, spends more, questions less. How many roles have you played today, just by scrolling? And here's the brutal question. If the algorithm were switched off, who would you be? Does the algorithm know more about your desires and fears than you do? And here's the darkest part. It also decides who you'll become if you don't fight back. You've been trained to believe that purpose is followers, that happiness is likes, that success is a buzzing phone. But that's not freedom. It's an illusion sold by a system that needs you to stay hooked. The real purpose is not in the next viral video, not in the number of followers, or the content that's trending today and forgotten tomorrow. Purpose is in the pause. The moment you stop and see the game. The second you decide, I won't follow the flow. I am not a number on a spreadsheet. I won't be another puppet in the attention war. True power is saying no. It's enduring the discomfort of not reacting. It's losing the instant reward and gaining silent freedom. It's refusing the role of a blind consumer and becoming a conscious creator. The question is brutal. Will you keep feeding the machine, or will you be the glitch in the system? The blind spot that can't be tracked? The defiance that won't be controlled? The algorithm is a prison disguised as choice, but every prison has an exit. The key is in your hand. The real question is, will you use it? Does the algorithm know more about your desires and fears than you do? It's counting on the fact that you won't resist, because it was designed for this, to exploit your anxiety, to amplify your urgency, to trigger your deepest impulses. The algorithm doesn't want you to think. It wants you to react. It wants you to scroll without questioning, to feel without processing, to live without really living. But here's what they don't want you to discover. You are not a lab animal. You are not a dopamine experiment. You are the one who can stop. Dark resilience is enduring the discomfort of not giving in. It's looking at the glowing notification and saying, I know what you are, and I won't give you my time. Courage is holding the emptiness. It's turning off the phone and facing the silence. It's embracing boredom without running to the next quick stimulus. It's saying, I'm not programmed to scroll. I'm free to choose where I place my attention. Self-mastery isn't perfection. It's decision. It's failing, realizing, adjusting, and continuing to resist. They want you predictable. They want you as another number, another click, another sale, another addict. But you can be the outlier, the one who disconnects, the one who questions, the one who says, I'm not a product, I am presence. The question is clear. Will you live for the next video, or for the next chapter of your own story? Does the algorithm know more about your desires and fears than you do? Here's the brutal truth. You think you're scrolling the feed, but the feed is scrolling you. Every video you watch, every emotion you feel, every impulse you follow is an invisible chain tightening around your mind. The system was built for this, to train you, to mold you, to make you forget that you are free. The algorithm is a prison, and you are the prisoner who thinks the cell is comfortable. They give you entertainment to silence your soul. They give you dopamine to numb your mind. They give you distraction to keep you from seeing the truth, but now you know. Now you see the machinery. Now the choice is yours. Will you keep scrolling, or will you stop and look up? Write in the comments, I am the master of my attention. That is your first act of rebellion, because the system won't stop. But you can. And sometimes, stopping is the most revolutionary act there is. The final question is simple and inescapable. Will you be the product or the creator, the addict or the free, the programmed or the programmer? The choice is yours, and it starts now.